Maybe this is recording. Right. Oh, is it a loop? Right. This is a collab put together by Kristy from Gracefield. And the topic is sacrifices we make to homeschool. Now, I'm going to tell it as I see it. Don't mean to offend anybody. But don't think I'm moaning, because no matter what sacrifices I list, I think they're worth it. I'm very happy with our decision to home educate. If you're new here, my name's Victoria. Homeschool 4 children, and then there's a fifth baby that's going to come very soon. So soon my pregnancy updates will turn into newborn baby spam, and I also do homeschool and family vlogs. So, sacrifices we make to homeschool. I think, don't get me wrong, some people genuinely cannot afford to homeschool, but those people are in the minority. If you think you can homeschool and your life is going to be exactly the same as it was before, then you're kidding yourself. Sacrifices need to be made, and you have to decide how important homeschooling is, if it's worth making them sacrifices or not. If you don't want to homeschool, but you're saying you can't afford it, but the truth actually is you just don't want to give up. You just don't want to give up the extra car or the extra holiday year or being able to go to here, there and wherever, then that's fine, that's your decision. But don't say you can't afford to homeschool. You can afford to homeschool, you just don't want to give up X, Y and Z to be able to do it. I don't work full time because we wouldn't be able to homeschool if I did. But that means our budget is a bit tighter. So we make the sacrifices that accommodate that. We've adjusted our budget to be able to homeschool, so one of us is at home all the time. And like I said, I'm very happy with that decision. But if I was to think like, oh, I wish I had the money for that, or I wish we could do that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I could, but to be able to put the hours into earn to get that money, I wouldn't be able, I'd be giving up the whole lovely homeschool lifestyle we've got, and it's just not worth the sacrifice for me. So that's one thing. The other sacrifice you're making when you homeschool is you're sacrificing being in the mainstream. Now, I don't think this is a bad sacrifice. I don't want to be in the mainstream. It's not getting any better than mainstream. But because you're suddenly not in the mainstream, there are going to be friends, perhaps family, not always, but perhaps family, who will fall by the wayside because they won't accept your decision. And that can be harsh and upsetting, but again, I think that sacrifice is worth it, because if somebody's not supportive of you and your decisions or how you live, no matter how you live, not even a homeschool situation, anything, and even if they become toxic, then the sacrifice of getting them out of your life is not a bad thing. I think see, this is different for other people. Some people are going to make sacrifices that other people aren't. Like one of my sacrifices is I ain't never going to have a tidy house ever again. But other homeschoolers seem to manage it, you see. But they might have something that's sacrificed in another area. Perhaps they can't. Perhaps they don't get the time to go and do a hobby. A hobby's had to fall by the wayside, or whatever. And the other thing is time to yourself. If my kids are all in school, I'd be dropping them all off, coming home, and then I'd have all day to myself if I wasn't at work, which I might not, because we're quite traditional. But and some people are like that, but then again, I'm quite willing to sacrifice that, because I wouldn't want to be in the house on my own all day just scrubbing. So different sacrifice for different people. But the only thing I can genuinely say is that if you want to homeschool and homeschool is working for you, then them sacrifices are worth it, no matter what they are. I'm trying to think what else you sacrifice. See, this is the thing, you sacrifice but you gain so much more. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So, it was a short one, but I just want to let you know that when you decide to homeschool, those sacrifices can seem massive. And maybe they are massive to start with, especially if, say, like, you've got to seriously downsize your budget or seriously change, de-school yourself and sacrifice the mindset you've been growing up with all this time that school's the most important thing, school's the only way kids can learn, It can be a big transformation. But I promise, 9 times out of 10 it's worth it. There was this reporter woman, I was on the internet or in the newspaper, I can't remember, a couple of years ago, reckoned she'd homeschooled her kids for 2 weeks and it was hell. And they'd quit it. And I'm like, 2 weeks? You have them for longer than 2 weeks during the school holidays. That's not transforming your life and making sacrifices and deschooling yourself and settling into a new way of life. That's just messing about for 2 weeks. Sorry, I'm on a ranty mood. If you like any of that made sense to you, please subscribe. I'm hoping you can hear me. There's kids playing out on the street. You might have only been able to hear footballs and stuff.